So here we are, it's Acadia's Oceanside Meadows Inn, and it's a beautiful morning, and we're heading to the National Park. And the odometer here is set to 0. We've had a little bit of trouble, my dear friends at Expedia, saying that it was 17 miles from Acadia, but in actual fact we're only just under 5. So there's the inn. We're going to go on a little video tour along the place. There's another building in the inn, that's the 1820s farmhouse. And we have 200 acres here at the head of Sand Cove, and we're going on a little drive. We're surrounded by like parkland land, but Acadia National Park at Schoodic Point is actually it's just 5 minutes away, and that's 5,000 acres of the national park. So it's our property, 200 acres, falls into 2 different villages. That's the village of Prospect Harbour and the village of Korea. And we've left Korea behind us, where there's a beautiful fishing village. You can get a lobster roll sitting on a dock at a place called the Korea Wharf, which people say is the best lobster roll in the eastern seaboard of America. And we're heading towards now Prospect Harbour, and you get a glimpses into Prospect Harbour here as we come along. Our town is full of lots of historic homes. Our buildings, the Sea Captain's house was built in 1860. Then we have a historic hall where we have concerts. It's built in 1820. This is the old post office in Prospect Harbour, a rather handsome little building. We're coming up here through the village of Prospect Harbour. A bit of road work going on right now, but they're just about to finish it. It looks like we're going to get stuck at a little bit of a thing where they're laying a new road. This is a little deli that's here, and then we have a beautiful library just across the street, village library, which our guests get to go to. That's Dorcas Allen Library there, with the ocean behind. It's got beautiful views of the water. So we're 1 mile from the village of Prospect Harbour. You can see now 1.1 miles. We're waiting at this little stop here. What they're doing is they're building a nice little sidewalk so the kids can walk from the school to the library without walking on the edge of the road, which used to be the situation that we had here. And here we go. There's a little village green and pavilion where you can go and have a picnic. And up ahead you'll see that's the town office, the fire department, fire station. Beautiful views then down to Winter. That's looking up Prospect Harbour Bay. And this is the fire department. All this road work. In this area there's these sculptures you'll see all over the place. There's a beautiful granite sculpture. It's because there's a guy local called Jesse Soulsby who has started this thing called Schoodic Sculpture, and it's held at Acadia National Park at Schoodic, just 5 minutes from the inn, and brings in sculptors from all over the world who then compete. But also they're funded by local towns who want a beautiful granite sculpture in their town, and they normally try and make them. This is beautiful views over there. They try and make them so they have some sort of meaning in relation to our little villages. In our town there's one called the Cleat, and it's sitting in the water in Winter Harbour, and it's meant to signify when you come back from a fishing trip that you tie up safely to your cleat, and it's obviously symptomatic of you know, that business of safe harbour, and it sits in the tidal zone of the harbour there. This is a lobster fisherman because they have a lobster processing plant right here, which is rather neat. So we're in real down East Maine, and it's a wonderful town, and literally this peninsula is made up of about 6 different villages. The villages of Korea, the village of Prospect Harbour, Birch Harbour, which we're just about to come into, then Winter Harbour, Goulsborough, and West and South Goulsborough, and then that's all little towns in the town of Goulsborough, and then Winter Harbour is the additional neighbouring little town that is on this peninsula where we find Acadia National Park. So in a minute, as we drive along here, we'll actually get to a sign that tells us how much further it is to Acadia. Now, the mountains we're just seeing in the distance now are actually part of the park. And there's magnificent trails, miles of them. That's Schoodic Mountain that we see ahead of us now. And you can hike all the way up to the top there. They've also put in the most extraordinary collection of hiking and biking trails, so you can cycle round the 12-mile loop that goes all the way along the ocean through the national park, which is absolutely spectacular, and then back to the beginning again without ever going on the roads at all, which is rather nice, and people like cycling. There's actually many miles of cycleways in this whole hill. That you can see this hill over behind here. That is all part of Acadia National Park at Schoodic Point. And there's a sign here that looks very clearly marked. Acadia National Park, Schoodic section, 2 miles. And if you look at the odometer now, we are at 3 miles, so it's 2 more miles to go to National Park. We'll get there in a minute. So this is Birch Harbour. Every little town has these wonderful little churches and what have you. This is a great ice cream parlour and things. There's a place called Pickle Wrinkle, which is a very popular place to eat and drink. There's many restaurants on this peninsula. Bunker's Wharf restaurant, which we'll love. We can sit at tables looking over the water and have fresh lobster and everything else you can imagine in the most beautiful setting. There's the Salt Box restaurant in Winter Harbour. There's the Fisherman's Wharf, which is another great restaurant. Gerrish's. It's about 8 restaurants within about 5 minutes of our place. So now we're entering the town of Winter Harbour, where the entrance to the national park is. But everything now on the left of us actually is now part of the park. Coming up any second now, this land has been acquired and is now part of a magnificent enclave of trails, biking trails, hiking trails, and this extraordinary piece of bold ocean front, which Acadia National Park at Schoodic is famous for. People come to this section because they really want to see the wilds of Maine, but they want to experience the ocean, bold ocean coast. It's a famous spot called Schoodic Point where the waves come rolling in, sometimes really huge ones. Actually, there's a video on this YouTube channel that has it, showing a bagpiper playing with his waves crashing up into the sky. I mean, they're just extraordinary. Have to be quite careful there, obviously, because you can get some rogue waves, but it is a beautiful spot to sit and have a picnic watching the waves rolling in on the coast. From the top of Schoodic Head you can see 4 lighthouses: Winter Harbour Light, Egg Rock Light, Prospect Harbour Light, and Petite Manan Light. That's pretty unprecedented on the coast of Maine, and they just really are beautiful views from this section. Of course, you can visit all 3 sections of Acadia National Park very easily from here. This one, which we're just about to arrive at, which is quite a nice large chunk of it. Then there's a little ferry that goes across the bay and takes you to the MDI section and the free National Park bus service that go to all that section of Acadia National Park. And the 3rd section of Acadia National Park is on an island called Isla Ho, and you can reach that by combination of the free National Park buses. There's the big sign saying Acadia National Park. We'll actually turn in here so you can see. This is the entrance. I'm going to have to do a driving tour of the park at some point, but not today. So there we are. There's the sign. See if we can see nice and clearly. We're shooting in the sun rather, unfortunately. But let's see, I'll turn the car around. And there we are. Acadia National Park. And Schoodic District. So we're at the entrance here. And the odometer reads 4.9. So hopefully we'll get to see you here, and hopefully our friends at Expedia will be able to. We're working very hard, the geography team, to get this straightened out, to make sure everybody knows that our end is 5 minutes from Acadia National Park, and this section anyway, and the other ones are all easily accessible. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the coast of Maine. Take care.